Hey everyone, Matt here with Moesif to show you how to use user analytics to your advantage. So within the Moesif platform, we have lots of functionality covering different ways to use user analytics. We're talking about user lookup, user funnel, user retention, and user composition. So I'm going to go through each of those features and quickly show you how to set up using some demo data each of those things. So the first one we'll look at is user lookup. This screen allows you to filter out your users based on some user criteria, so maybe a geolocation or some other type of user attribute, or you can filter based on users that performed a specific event. So if we look right now, we can see that we've got a bunch of users here that we can scroll through, very similar to a CRM. I'm able to click into these users and I can see stuff like user ID, I can look at name, I can see email, I can see when they were last modified, first seen time, all these types of things. So we can use this to investigate users. We could use it from a sales perspective to learn a bit more about the users as well. So if I come back to user lookup, I could do here, I'm gonna actually filter out users that are located in the US that have performed an event where they receive a API response of some type of 400 error. What I'll do is geo IP, I'll do country code is US, and you can see that I've got that here. Then I can do event where response status code is, and we'll just do 400. So 400 bad request. So with this now I can see folks in the US who have had at least one 400 bad request in the last 7 days. And we can obviously play with this as well. We could say within the last 24 hours, we'll see none. We could do within the last 28 days, we'll probably see a longer list. So that's how we can filter that. And then as we find users, we can click on them and we can explore them further. The next thing that I want to show you is a user funnel. So a user funnel allows us to see what our conversion rate is between different stages within our funnel. So we'll have a step 1, step 2, step 3, and step N. As many steps as you'd like, you can add in. What we'll do is we are going to do a 3-step process where a user logs in, then they make a purchase, and then they make a subsequent purchase. Actually, that they've made 2 subsequent purchases, so total of 3 purchases. This data that I'm using right now is somewhat in terms of an e-commerce platform, an e-commerce store. We want to make sure that our users are continuing to use the platform and deriving value, and that comes from making sure that they're making purchases. So all I'll do is request.URI route is, and I can see all the ones that are here, so /login, and they have to do that at least 1 times. Our next event is when their request.URI route is /purchases. And I'm also going to add another thing on here just to make sure that the purchase was successful. I'm going to put where response status code is 200. So 200, okay. Then I'm going to add another funnel step and it'll be the exact same. So we'll do request URI route is /purchases where response status code is 200. And the reason why is because if they've been having issues, they might call this endpoint multiple times, and I only want successful ones to show up here. And then I'll do 2 times. So they've made a total of 3 purchases. And we can see here that our results are, we have step 1, so this is login. Then we have step 2 of their first purchase. So, 46% of users make a first purchase. And then we have 6 users out of our initial 97 that made a subsequent 2 purchases after their first initial purchase. So with this, we can actually start to see different trends. We might even be able to improve this. So if we're testing out a campaign, maybe we're trying to retarget old users or previous purchasers, we can see the results in this very, very quickly and make sure that our actions are leading to conversions. And we could put as many steps here as we wanted to, but this is a simple way for us to demonstrate that. And We can also adjust this based on a specific range, right? So we could say in the last 7 days, we could take a look and we can see that in the last 7 days, no one's made it to step 3. So no one's made a subsequent purchase after their first one. And another thing that I do want to point out, if I go to the last 28 days, is that we can also see the overall time it takes to complete this funnel. So by the time users make their third purchase and complete that third step in the funnel, it's taking 15 days average overall time. So you can see here, we can see time to convert, which is right here on step 2. So 8 days for them to make their first purchase. And then it takes an additional 6 days for them to make a second and third purchase. And that is a very simple user funnel. Now we talk about user retention, and this is for people returning to the platform. What we'll do for the first event is we'll take a look where the request.uri route is /purchases. So the first time they make a purchase, we know that they are deriving value from the platform. We want to make sure that they have recurring value coming from the platform. And for that, we want to make sure that they make a second purchase. So we can go to request, URI route is purchases. Now to refine this further, we can see here what our retention is throughout the days. And then we can also see this little chart at the bottom showing us our retention rates per day. So 9.72 on day 1, 9.95 on day 2, and so on and so forth. Now, one thing that I do want to mention here is to be very cautious with how you're looking at these event criteria. Because if they called this URI route twice because they had failed purchases, this may actually throw off your metrics here. So what I do want to do is make sure that it was successful. So response, status code is 200. And I'll also make sure that that returning event is also response, status code is 200. And we can actually see that metric change here a bit as well. We were at 9 point something before. Now we've went down to 2.36. So this is actually successful purchases that went through. So this is a better way to make sure that you've refined that metric so that you're not getting some type of, false statement here. The last thing I want to cover is user composition. We can take a look through user composition at what our overall user base looks like. We can do it where users where, so we could filter by stuff like GeoIP, we could filter by specific company, we could filter by, first seen time. We could do all of those user specific fields. What I'm going to do is actually do company domain is, and I'll say gap, and we can see some data already populating here. So we can see, if we look at what we're doing here, we're grouping by user agent.name. So this is the platform they're using to actually access our platform. And what we're looking at is the top 10 results for user agent.name. Okay, and this is based on unique users. So we can switch what metric we're going by. So we can see here that in this chart, we have none, so they're probably not identified. Then we have Java SDK, which is the second most popular. Then we have Node.js SDK, and then we have the Golang SDK. Now, if we wanted to do it by unique companies, obviously it's only going to be one because we're only doing gap, but we have these different metrics. So we can see on the side here that what we control this side with is what metric we're going by. So we could do unique sessions or API keys. You can see here that now our metric is different, so we're going off of this one here. We can see now that we have 28. So now the Java SDK is the top one because we have 28 unique sessions or API keys being used with that. This is within the last 28 days. I'll go over a little quick review in the end to make sure that we've got through every single piece of this because it is a little bit complex to make sure that you've tuned it in correctly. So what we've got company domain is gap. Let's actually change this. And I'm going to change this to where country code is US, so we only have US metrics showing up here. And what I want to do is I want an event where I only want to get, let's just say status code is 400, bad request. And I'm going to do last 28 days, but we could change this. We could actually do within the last 12 weeks. which is going to give us a larger sample group. What I'll do here in my group by is I'm going to change it from agent name to company. And I'm going to do company domain. Now I can see my top, let's say top 10 users for this company. And we can see here, if I go to unique users, we can see that, handshake.com is our #1 company in terms of unique users that are using our platform. We have 4 there. Then we can see a bunch that are similar. So we have, Vonage, CrowdStrike, expressscripts.com. This is all sample data that we've imported here, just so we can see how it's spread out. So we can see the top 10 here. Now, if we wanted to go by unique session API, unique sessions or API keys, we can also see that now it switches a bit on us again. So we can explore all of these different metrics here. Average time to first hello world. You can see what the average time is in seconds, and lots of ways to explore who our user base is, what they're using, how they're using the platform. It's a great way to get more familiar with what users are doing on your platform and who those users are. Again, that's different than our user lookup because this is showing our overall user composition. Whereas with User Lookup, we're able to look at specific users and see attributes for those users. So to wrap up, we have User Lookup if you want to look at individual users. And then we have user funnels. We're able to see people moving through the funnels and see what our conversion rates are. Then we have user retention, where we can have a starting event and a returning event, which allows us to measure what our retention rate is. And then we have user composition, where we can take a look at our overall user base and how they're using our product. So that's 4 powerful ways that you can use user analytics within Moesif to help your organization.